Hi guys, it's Chris speaking. Welcome back. A couple weeks ago, I talked about the 4-month changes on T, and I went head to toe and I did the physical changes. I mentioned that I would do the mental changes in that video, but I got to about 10 minutes, and that's my attention span, so I decided to cut it and come back with the mental changes, which I'm going to have a chat to you about today. As I'm going through the mental changes, it's not going to sound that positive, so stay with me because it is. It just needs a little bit of explaining. So the first mental change, or something that I've really sort of noticed over the past 4 months, is I've had this sense of a loss of control. I've become slightly more uptight than I was, and by slightly I mean a lot. So I think that comes from a place of not being in control of what's sort of happening to my body at the moment, so I feel the need to control externally. And that's things that are really plain and boring, like, housework or my work life. I need to sort of be more in control of those things to feel like I'm in control of my entire life. I think the best thing that sort of happened over the past 4 months is I've stopped questioning my gender day in and day out. There are definitely times when I still think about it. I can't tell you that I still don't think about it every day, but when I'm going through my Monday to Friday routine, which is pretty set because I do work full time, it's not something that I'm thinking about every second of every day anymore, and that's really nice. I'm not here, talking to you, wondering if I'm a fraud for being here, because I don't know. I know, and that's quite nice. That's probably been my favourite mental change that's happened. This is sort of, I guess, less apparent if I'm outside of my comfort zone. So if I'm going out of my bubble, or I'm sort of going out in a public place with other people. I went to a con a couple of weeks ago, and it was a massive mental day for me. I was so focused on trying to walk and think and act like a man so that everyone who walked past me would perceive me as I perceive myself. And that took a lot out on my brain. And so that sort of thing, I guess that sort of social dysphoria has worsened if I am outside of my comfort zone, because I'm worried about how people are looking at me and if they're seeing me the right way. Another example is I went shopping the other day. I had to pick up one or two things, and I saw quite an obvious lesbian couple, and although it sounds awful, my brain was like, please don't think I am one of you, because I used to identify that way, and now I just identify as a man. I'm like, don't look at me for any longer than you have to. I'm just another dude in the store, and I don't want to be identified as a lesbian because I'm not. And that sort of thing. So I'm hyper aware of those situations if I go out now. So I guess that sort of side of it has gotten worse. My dysphoria sort of alleviated for a little while. So the first sort of, I guess, month or two on T, I was super excited to start seeing these little changes come in. And I would probably say that it's come back, but it's come back and manifested in different ways. Just like, when I took the train home a little while ago, and there's all these guys with these open shirts and their chest hair like puffing up to their chins, and I was like, I don't have that. Does that mean that I'm not a man? What am I doing? I don't have chest hair that's coming from my nostrils, like that sort of situation. So it's coming in, and it's coming in different ways. Sort of worrying that I'm not manly enough, or I never will be manly enough, and that's my brain, and that's dysphoria. I think a lot of that can be tied into the societal views, and what we're told by the media is masculine, and if we're trying to put ourselves in those boxes, it doesn't let us just be who we are. I guess the emotional side of it is, I didn't really believe this was a thing before I was on testosterone. I sort of thought people were making it up about the non-crying, and not making it up. I just sort of didn't believe that it would happen to me. You can't cry. It takes a lot to cry, and that day of the con was the first time that I had cried really in the last sort of, I guess, 3 months. The first month it wasn't so bad on testosterone. If I was upset at something, I would cry, and now if I get upset, my first emotion is frustration. So my fuse is a lot shorter than it used to be, and not to the point of anger. It's just frustration. Frustration comes first. That day that I did cry, it was because I was so frustrated that I couldn't convey what I was feeling, and I was so overwhelmed that, from that day of having to really sort of look at myself and try and be as masculine as I could be, that it sort of got to me. But it took a lot to get to that point. Menopause is a thing, so you're hot and cranky, as well as having all the teenage boy emotions go through you, so that can be interesting. But at the end of the day, I am feeling more relaxed, which is nice. Like I said, I'm not going through my day-to-day questioning at every second of every day. I feel calmer in myself, even though a lot of what I've said doesn't give you evidence that, I am calmer. I think there are certain things that are different in terms of the dysphoria and having to deal with, I guess, a new set of challenges mentally. But as a person, I feel like I can settle into my body a little bit more than before. So that's really it for, I guess, the mental changes. I'm sure there will be more. I'm only 4 months in. I think as time progresses and I do get more and more comfortable with myself, I'm hoping that a lot of that need to control external factors will sort of fade away. It may mean that I need to reshift my focus and put my energy into things that I can control. Much like these videos, I do, when I come and I talk to whoever it is, I feel like I'm more in control of, my transition and hopefully helping someone else with theirs, or just updating people in my life about what's going on. That's okay too. That's it from me today. It's a bit of a shorter one. You're welcome. If you made it to the end, thanks very much, and I will catch you next time. Okay, bye. Yay, we're done.